Hey Cowlitz County, hey Wahkiakum County, this is Father Brian and this is your update for August 18th. And today's video is for people who are not Catholic but who are thinking about becoming Catholic. I know there are at least a couple of you out there who are interested, and over the next couple of days I'm going to give a few reasons why I think it's good to be Catholic, especially right now. And today I want to mention that joining the Catholic Church will give you community that really doesn't exist anywhere else. Okay, and specifically, it will give you a sense of community with people throughout history, and it will give you a global sense of community. Being Catholic connects you to the past in a way that few other things in the world really do. This is refreshing in a time when we feel very disconnected from history, and people seem to be rewriting history every day. We trace the foundations of the Catholic Church to the apostles themselves. In fact, we make a bold claim that our church was established by Jesus himself. This is when we believe that our church started. Furthermore, and I might have to do a separate video on this later, the Catholic Church is very rooted in the Jewish faith. So in a certain sense, it even ties us to events long before Jesus even came into the world. That's also part of our story. And when I say that the church, however, began with Jesus, and that Jesus established the Catholic Church, I want to be clear that I mean it in a couple of ways here. First of all, I mean the church in a visible sense. Right? Jesus gave the apostles authority over the church. They governed the early church. And we see this very clearly in the New Testament of the Bible. And we believe that the apostles passed this authority on to their successors, who then passed it on to their successors, who passed it to their successors, who passed it to their successors, and so on and so on and so on, right up until today. Okay, we actually call that apostolic succession. We believe that our bishops, the current bishops, are actually successors to the apostles. So there's this line of succession, and somehow being Catholic today really does unite you to those Christians who lived in the past. We have the same governance over our church. But we also believe, and this is sort of more of an invisible way, we believe that we actually believe today what the early Christians believed. Now, our understanding of Christian doctrine has grown over the years. It's matured. All right, kind of like a seed becomes a plant producing lots and lots of fruit. But we use words, okay, to describe Christian doctrine that might not have been employed in the earliest days of the church. But the words that we use are consistent with how the early church described their doctrine. Here's sort of another way to look at this. And I'm not using this example to pick on anyone or their beliefs, but just to make a claim, okay? A claim that you can evaluate on your own here, all right? And this, that some doctrines that some Christians believe are not rooted in the early church, okay? For example, if you got in a time machine and went back to the 5th century and found a bunch of Christians, and you started talking about doctrine, and you mentioned a doctrine like the rapture, they would have no idea what you were talking about. So they'd say, okay, well, explain what you mean by that. And you say, oh, well, you know, at such and such time, all the Christians are going to get zapped up, and they would look at you like you're crazy. Okay, that was not on their radar at all. If, however, you went back in time, started talking to those same Christians about something like the Eucharist, okay, they would know what you were talking about. Even if you used a word that had not yet been described, like the transubstantiation, okay, and if you don't know what that is, and you wind up pursuing Catholicism, trust me, you'll understand what that means. And they said, well, we don't know that word transubstantiation. What does it mean? And you explained, well, we believe that the Eucharist is really the body and blood of Jesus. They'd say, oh, yeah, we know that. That's what we believe. Okay? So again, they might not use the exact same words that you would use, but at least they would know what you were talking about. It would be very clear that the doctrine that we have in our catechism today, they're rooted in those beliefs that they had. As a Catholic, furthermore, when you read stories of Christians from the early days of the church, it's very clear that we have the same faith and are practicing the same religion. And it's very beautiful. Again, you feel a real sense of connection to them. But Catholicism also gives you a global community in a way that few other things today can. There are Catholics literally all over the world right now. All right? There are Catholics in every nation. I've been fortunate to travel to many places where I don't speak the language of the locals. And I've been able to attend Mass on Sunday in these languages that I do not know, and I can still pray. Okay, I know what's going on. I still know what's going on because our worship is above and beyond language. So many other ways of worshiping, they're very, very dependent on language and knowing the language. And it's just not always the case in Catholicism. It's just a beautiful way of being united. Now, it's interesting that one buzzword you hear nowadays is globalism. All right? And there are lots of people who are looking for global connections. All right? And they want to establish that globalism through technology or some other type of means, like the United Nations and things like that. And it's interesting because when I hear that, I'm kind of like, we already have a global community. There's already a global community. Catholicism really has that global connection that you are looking for right now. And when I talk about this, the church isn't this global community because it imposed itself on people, even though there could be times in history where our efforts to spread the faith maybe did become a little too heavy-handed. But I think we all know that faith doesn't really stick in people's hearts through that way. Okay? The reason that we have this global church is because of Jesus. Something about Jesus resonates across cultures, across time and space. And we see that very visibly in the Catholic Church. And so I'm proud of being a Catholic for those reasons. I'll have a few more reasons why I think it's good to be Catholic, especially right now over the next few days. But first of all, if you're interested in joining the Catholic Church here in Cowlitz County, that's northern Cowlitz County, or Wahkiakum County, we're going to include a link in the description to this video. Please click on it, fill out the form, and we'll get back to you soon. In the meantime, have a blessed day. If you've had a discussion with somebody who is interested in becoming Catholic, maybe pass this along to them and start that conversation up. So have a blessed day. I love you. I miss you all. God bless.